Thank you very much for tuning in. My name is John Michael. I represent Pro-Life Nova Scotia, and you may think, oh yeah, birth control pills, they prevent conception, so it's totally fine to be engaged in, in premarital, fornication, which is, sex before marriage, you know. It's totally fine to do that and all this stuff. There's no consequences at all. Does that sound like a plausible reality? Like, you just take a pill and then you can, you know, do fornication with, it's clearly that kind of activity is clearly dangerous, right? It's very dangerous to actually do that. To engage in that kind of, you should be able to understand from your experience that this is wrong. But a lot of people don't, right? So a lot of people are immature and they will, not really get on board with this idea, and that's just the way it is, right? So they will believe that fornication with any kind of let's say for example, your daughter, let's say for example you're dead and you send your daughter off to college and then you put her on the birth control pill. That is literally the most, you're a loser. You're an absolute loser, dad, if you're doing that. Let's say, for example, your daughter's 18, 19, 20, or even younger, right? Some of these girls are young. I've had girls when I was in high school, I was, doing that kind of stuff, and I did it. I know. And, these girls were taking pills, so I know what it is, right? 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old girls are on these birth control pills, doing all kinds of stuff like that, right? When they're supposed to be waiting until marriage. So then, a guy like me comes around, or a guy like this guy, or anybody, and then, what's available for a wife? Not anything that I want to get involved with. It's a whole bunch of used up an experienced, if you will. Now she's a WHORE, right? So it's 100% a sinful, dirty, you know. It's not something that we want. Okay, men don't want that, right? Right? We don't want that. We want a chaste virgin, right? That's literally the only thing that is on a man's mind, is to be the first and the only, because then the woman will be loyal to the man, not to Kennedy, because it's gross to have multiple sexual partners. And it's a disgusting thing to have multiple sexual partners, right? So the birth control bill is allowing this kind of nonsense behavior to happen. So these people like Dr. Dow, like the Dr. Michelle Dow, that I'm basing my whole YouTube channel about, that basically ruined, my family and all this stuff. I came to her one time and I said, "You did something," and then she like, so she denied it and all this stuff, and she was supposed to give me like this pack of evidence that no, it was really, but that I cannot prove for 100%, right? That is only 99.9% sure that I am 100%. The probative value of that is very high, but it is not. And don't get me wrong, right? The probative value. What does that mean? How strong the proof is, right? The probative value, okay? So the probative value of the other thing, right, was very strong, but not. And let's not make any mistake. How strong should the evidence be? It should be beyond any doubt, not beyond a shadow of a doubt, or beyond a reasonable doubt, or beyond the status of probability or any nonsense like that. It should be beyond any doubt at all. There could be any doubt at all. So what I'm saying here, why did I make a whole YouTube channel about Dr. Michelle Dow selling abortifacient drugs to these minor children that don't really understand the consequences of what they're going to purchase and put inside their body, and to be able to, have conceive a child, and then after that cause the early abortion. That is beyond any doubt at all. Okay, there's no the probative value is 100%. Right, I'm not going to dedicate a whole YouTube channel because this is a 99.9% sure, like the other thing that I was, I directly confronted her. Right, so so basically I had to make a whole Excel sheet, right? Did I say about that? I don't even know if I talked about that. I have to make a whole Excel sheet about, she haunts me in my dreams basically every night. She literally haunts me in my dreams every night. I gotta wake up and I gotta, splash water on my face, and because she's haunting me in my dreams every night, right? Imagine your own cousin killing in excess of 1,000 children. In excess of 1,000 children. You know what? I had enough of making these videos. I had enough of this nonsense that my own family, my own blood, is so far gone past the gutter, right? In the moral sense, it's so far gone that she thinks it's okay to feminism and all this stuff. No, no, it's not. It's murder. It's abhorrent evil, right? This kind of thing. I've had enough. I can't even imagine and to the point where I have to make an Excel sheet to document how many times she haunts me in the dreams. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm so crazy. Okay, I'm so crazy. Well, prove me wrong. Now, prove me wrong. Prove me that this hormonal birth control pill prevents conception 100% of the time. You prove it to me, because I prove this on the YouTube channel by the FDA's own information. It's commonly known fact, right? It's a commonly known fact that the FDA, embryology, all this stuff that I was talking about on the YouTube channel, is like 250 videos that I made exposing not just this, but everything else that branches outside of this topic. It's beyond 100%. It is 100% beyond any doubt at all, right? What is the probative value of the information that I'm sharing here? Beyond any doubt at all. So I can say with 100% confidence, right, that there will be zero proof that I'm right. But if I hope so, man, I hope so. I'm praying and hoping that I'm wrong. Right? So if I'm wrong, please, and the comments are open. I mean, of course they're open. Of course they're open, because you cannot refute what I'm saying, right? If you refute what I'm saying, you put it in the comments. I will publicly apologize and say, oh man, thank you so much for. That is the number one thing that I want us to be wrong. That is the number one thing that I want us to be wrong. Do you think I want this reality? This is a horrifying reality. It sends shivers up and down my spine. Just to imagine that my family, that she has tainted the family name so much and reversed it so that I'm the black sheep of the family. I'm the black sheep of the family. Oh yeah, and everybody hates me because I'm so very, very terrible, because I'm blah 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 blah. What am I blah 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 about? About the truth, about what she actually does, about what the world has actually come to. Right? Imagine killing in excess of 1,000 children, killing in excess of 1,000, destroying these embryos, these precious viable pregnancies. Right? It's absurd. It's beyond. It's beyond the most absurd blatancy that I've ever seen in my whole life. I mean, you cannot. And here's the darkest part, the darkest twisted part about all this stuff is, I know, and she knows that I know, and I know that she knows that I know. Right? And she's gonna block me on Facebook and all this stuff, and she won't accept my phone calls because she's clearly in the wrong. But I put it to her. I really did. I put it to her with the College of Physicians. And, the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Nova Scotia. If you want to see something twisted, really twisted, read my book. I wrote a whole book about it. I wrote a whole book about this thing because it's that important to save the upcoming generation of this wicked nonsense, right? So first of all, I don't know, like, I'm not going to make any educational campaign or something like that about, we must, teach these women that birth control pills actually does prevent pregnancy. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You got Dr. Mitchell Dow and those goons, those medical goons that have brain. Not only them, right? It's the pharmaceutical companies. I don't know how it can be such a strong delusion, though. It is. It certainly is a strong delusion, right? To the point where these women will just not accept it. They will not accept it. They will believe the lie until they're dead, right? They will not concede the truth. They will not concede to the facts that the FDA even says, right? Because accepting that, okay, I made a video about the membrane of the bubble. You cannot prick that membrane of the bubble is so very thick, right? So for me to accept it, it took a long time, right? So for example, it took me years, like literally years, to actually accept that and to understand. I found out about it, and then I was like, oh, okay, well, is that really? And then I found out about it a little bit more, and then I'm a guy that takes the initiative, right? I'm a guy that takes the initiative, and I'm like, what would happen if this were true? And then, is it true? And then the answer is yes, it's true, beyond 100%, beyond any doubt at all. So then, now that it is true, and we know it to be true, what happened. It reminds me of the time that I've discovered the Bible version issue. Now, the Bible version issue is something very, very important, and I guess I can briefly introduce that. There's two sets of texts to the Bible, and then then there's the Alexandrian text, and then the Textus Receptus, which is the anyway, there's lots of information to cover on that. But when I really started to study that kind of issue, yeah, and I've noticed that the Roman Catholic Church uses the Alexandrian text. I was like, okay, well, why are they using it? Because they are the ones that are propagating that thing. But I've said, I've said like so much, a bird's eye view. I mean, this. So what I'm trying to say is that the Bible version issue is one of those things, right? One of these things, like the birth control pill, the issue, that's a big issue. There's lots to talk about. The Bible version issue is the number one, fundamental thing that is the most, so very, very evil. It's the crime of forgery. Okay, the crime of forgery. The Bible version issue, I'll just explain a little bit more, is there's a forged Bible. Okay, there's a forged Bible, missing words, added words, changed doctrines and things like that. And this is, verifiable. If you verify in an unbiased manner, if you actually look at it, the evidence, you'll see very, very quickly that it is okay. It's changed. There's missing words. Thousands of words missing and all this stuff, right? So entire passages are removed, and it's a I don't think anybody's going to that will spend a reasonable amount of time to verify what I say. I don't think they're going to disagree, but there's a lot of people who will disagree because the religion is something that they very, very believe it. I believe in the NIV. I believe in the American Standard Version. I believe in the English Standard Version and all this stuff. So these new Bibles are based from the Alexandrian text, and then the TR, which is the Textus Receptus. There's the King James Bible and all this stuff, which is the authorized version. It's a whole issue. But what I was trying to say about that is that these people will just blindly not believe it, right? And you got this deception going on for this thing. So there's these deceptions, right, that we have to uncover. We have to uncover the massive deception that is, for example, the Bible version issue. You have to uncover the massive deception that is the birth control issue. There's so much of these deceptions, right? I'm sure I'm missing some, but I can name a few more. For example, the Hollywood gender thing. If you've ever been around that, it's not even important. Just don't do yourself a favor. Don't watch any TV or anything like that. That Hollywood gender thing is a huge thing that you can get. You can snowball yourself into and spend a lot of time, but it's not even worth it. I've looked into it, and yes, it is true, but it's just, is it really important? The distilled water issue. That's a really important issue, and lots and lots of deception there. Some of these deceptions here are. I could make a whole video about the distilled water issue. The distilled water issue is very, very important. Now, the distilled water issue, you got a lot of these people that say, no, we need these inorganic minerals. Oh, but we don't. Like, it's very, very. That is beyond 100%, right? There's beyond 100%. Like, what I'm saying is beyond any doubt at all. Okay, so these four things that I've mentioned here, the Bible version issue, the birth control issue, the Hollywood. It's not even important, but it is. It's fairly obvious. And then number four, the distilled water issue, right? That's something that is that is beyond any doubt at all. But so many people will reject the truth, and they will reject the truth, right? So these four issues and more, right? There's more. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here. Just these four issues here have. Once you break these and you don't let the deception guide your course of thought, you can have a much cleaner and better life, right? That's the point. That's what I'm saying here. And, man, I hope that some guy in the future watches my channel. He's like, yeah, John Michael's not so crazy after all. I hope so. Yeah. I'm alone here. There's nobody home. My kids are gone to the mountain. We'll see their grandparents or whatever, so I'm just alone. Yeah. What are we at? Almost the end of October 2025. And it's been since February I wrote this book, right? So it's still getting haunted in my dreams. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. If you've made it this far, which you probably didn't because nobody watched my video, I thank you so much, man. And, keep in touch. Yeah? Take care. I'll see you. Bye-bye.